Hello, friends, and happy Friday to one and all. I hope your weekend is off to a great start. I am really looking forward to getting the show rolling here. It's been a long week, and it's good that it has come to an end. So I have on the bookshop and the Matches Memorial Friday Savinelli, as is the tradition here on the Friday night live stream. And I see we already have quite a few folks assembled. So good to see you guys. Let's see, we got David Bookshop. And David's got some Peterson 87, a Peterson 87 with Haunted Bookshop. And he got the Peterson from Eddie Gray. That was difficult for me to say. Cypress Piper, Friday Savinelli with, I'm already losing the screen here. Friday Savinelli with Haunted Bookshop, Flint Hill Briar. Hello, Flint Hill. Got Carter Hall in his new mirror. Congratulations. Tony 513, how's it going, Tony? Great to see you. It's been a while, buddy. Big Dave, good evening to you, sir. Bona Piper, Christian, good to see you. Richie B, very good to see you. Enjoyed your news that you sent me. Are you the guy that sent me the email about the podcast? If so, if you want me to talk about that, I certainly will. Ron Hardcrackers, how's it going, Ron? And Flint Hill Briar, already have some University Flake rubbed out and drying for pipe number 2. Cool. Did I miss you first time around, Flint Hill? Oh, well. James Steidel. Hello, James. Signalman Tony from Rhode Island. Hello. Pipe Appeal. Good evening to you. Chris Weber, nice to see you coming in from Iowa. There's Millennial Codger. Richie B's got a cob with some dark bird's eye. Oh, he had a cob with some dark bird's eye. Okay, Richie, that's exciting stuff. I will definitely do that. But let me let the room fill up a bit. If I forget, remind me. Stony Lawn Cottage Pipe. Did I say hello to you? I'm getting too old to keep this all in my head. Hello, Stony Lawn Cottage Pipe. Just in case. Michael Case. Beautiful autumnal day. Number 7. Oh, congratulations, Michael. Happy birthday, my friend. 76 is just a number, buddy. $4 lunch. Life is good. Life is good indeed. No problem, Richie. I had one of those weeks where I really feel like I earned my Friday night haunted bookshop. And by the way, I am drinking. I was gonna have a beer, but I only have those. That's what she said. Stouts left, and I don't keep them in the fridge, and I didn't put one in the fridge tonight. So instead, we got some Jameson. Bona Piper's got some Capstan Blue from 2013. Nice. Nording Hunter Zebra Dublin. Very cool. Yes, indeed. Happy birthday to Michael Case. That is fantastic, Michael. So good. I hope you did have a good day. $4 lunch aside. John's pipe journey is in. Good to see you, John. The Pipe Hunter. It's good to have you back, Pipe Hunter. And Flint Hill's going to go with Bushmill. The only alternative to Jameson, really. So good for you. Pipe Hunter's got H&H Burley Flake, a wonderful blend. I'm going to be continuing with Haunted Bookshop for the month of October, so as odd as it sounds, Haunted Bookshop is my tobacco of the month, but it's my tobacco of every month. But I always do that in October in celebration of spooky season. And I haven't actually gotten around to decorating for spooky season because honestly, if I put decorations up behind me, you're not even going to notice. It's such a mess back there. And my plans for Halloween still are not clear. I've been trying to get my wife to commit to something. That's sort of like trying to get I don't know, a dog to drive to the store and pick you up a six-pack. I don't know what else to say. She's just, and it's fair enough. She's been hyper focused on things for so long, and now she's got time to think, and she's processing stuff and all that. And the last thing in the world she wants to do is start planning another trip. But we do have to go back to Pittsburgh, and I need to know when because I got a lot of other stuff to sort out. Cypress Piper is going to pop a tin of Burley Flake. Very nice. There's Doug Owen. Good to see you, Doug. Yes, the Phillies' unfortunate loss. I told you, I thought the Mets were going to be a problem, and sure enough, they were. C'est la vie. C'est la guerre. Look, Christian, I'm speaking the French again. It's a good question, Michael. I haven't seen Armchair Piper in a bit. Although I think he's actually on his annual golf trip. I think. Or at least he was planning to go on his annual golf trip. I don't know if that happened yet or not. I know he was going to be out Doug Owens' way. Doug, I don't know if that happened or not, if you guys met up. Neil Day starting with a CAO Brazilian Go cigar. Nice. The H&H Burley Flake tastes the way fall leaves smell. Yeah, I can see that. A wonderful flavor. He's back from his golf trip, says John's Pipe Journey. Okay, good. Well, he may show up. Lately, he's been coming in mid show for a bit. So I think you guys might witness a live Flint replacement tonight. Oh, fantastic, Doug. Yeah, Ed is a wonderful guy, and I'm really glad that you guys got to meet in person. We could actually burn leaves, Big Dave. There's Armchair Piper. See, you say his name 3 times and he shows up. I would like to commit to a smoke with Armchair Ed. I would love to do that. Life is so chaotic right now, and I don't know what my plans are between here and Pittsburgh and stuff, but as soon as things settle, Ed, I promise you, before winter sets in, we're going to get together. It's been far too long. They do take a while to process, Christian. I'm so sorry about that, and I hope you and Marie are doing well. Ah, glad you like the Intemperance. Yeah, they're good stuff. The Crown Heads, they make some really good cigars there, Richie. Pondering with Pepe's Pipes. How you doing, Pepe? Just picked up the leaves and don't burn them. Yeah, I can burn them, but it's a pain. It's actually easier we just push them out in the street and the borough comes and takes them. So Patrick Grant, hello, good to see you. And there's Yornik. Hello, pipe person of the world there. Didn't know what to do with that, Yornik. Paragon Piper, yo. Ron Hardcrackers just finished a bowl of Sutliff Stoved Black Virginia 507S in a BC Panache Billiard. Nice blend. If you aren't distracted and pay attention, you get sweet rewards. I've had that, although I mixed it with Perique. It is a nice blend. Do I know anything about Mitutoyo calipers? Asks Christian. No, I got a pair of them somewhere. That's not Mitutoyo. I don't know where I put them, but I know a bit about them. They're good calipers. What did you want to know in particular, Christian? Ah, Yornik, sorry to hear that. That's not fun. That's not fun at all. Migraines are the exact opposite of fun, pretty much. Thomas Kalheim, how are you doing, Thomas? Been a while, buddy. Great to see you. Ah, Big Dave's going to know much more about calipers than I do. Talk to Big Dave, Christian. He won't steer you wrong. It went really nicely with the Perique run. I did the Virginia was fine. I'm just not a straight Virginia guy, but yeah, it was really nice with some Perique. Yeah, it should be interesting, Cypress Piper. If he wants digital Christian, then the question I really want to ask you is not relevant, but I'm going to ask it anyway because it makes me laugh. Is he going to want that in inches or foreign? Starrett is fantastic, no question about it. I actually own a couple sets of Starretts. Although, in all honesty, John, the price difference doesn't really justify it for most people. I mean, unless you're doing like super ultra uh, precise work. Certainly for something like pipe making, you don't need Starretts, but they're beautiful tools. Ah, working night shifts. Okay, Thomas. 2:15 a.m. My goodness. So are you just getting off work or are you, well, I guess you're just getting off work if it's night shift or you're post work relaxing. Oh, heck, pipe appeal. I'd go nuts if I didn't get to do this. But thank you. I appreciate that. And you guys thank me. You have no idea how thankful I am that you even show up for this. Because as I've said many times, I'd still do it. I used to say as long as there's one other person. I think I've gotten crazy enough that I don't even need one other person anymore. Yeah, Doug, that liberal arts thing makes a lot of sense now. Yep. Hellboy the Crooked Man? Is that like a Hellboy Sherlock Holmes mashup, Eunuch? Ah, it's kind of you to say, Patrick. I'm glad we can do that. So we probably got a critical mass now. I want to let you know, our buddy Richie B sent me a message that well, first off, I did not realize this, but Richie's been putting his toe into the waters of pipe making. Putting his toe in, yeah, I think that makes sense. Which is really cool. The more the merrier, Richie. So really glad you're doing that, and can't wait to see what you come up with. Of course, I remember the Sherlock Holmes episode of The Crooked Man, John. This is true, Doug. You got us all beat when it comes to Pliny the Younger, I'm sure. Okay, so not related, Yornik. Gotcha. Uh, yeah, so Richie B has become a pipe maker. He's becoming a pipe maker, early days. But he got interviewed on the Houston Pipecast, which is a podcast. So I did not know about the Houston Pipecast. I'm really looking forward to finding out about that because I love a good pipe podcast. Can listen to that while I'm down here in the shop or driving or whatnot. And I definitely want to hear Richie B getting interviewed. So if you want to check that out, I'm sure if you Google Houston Pipecast, you'll find it. And yeah, definitely worth checking out. We should all go and support our buddy Richie. Couch, it's in the third drawer of your dresser. Did they still talk about Pliny the Younger at cocktail parties, Doug? It's been a while since I've been to a cocktail party. I kind of like Yernick. I kind of like the first Hellboy movie. Um, or was it? Are we talking about Hellboy or Hellraiser? Now I'm lost. Hellboy. Yeah, Hellboy. I kind of liked the first movie. It was odd. It was somewhat unusual, but I enjoyed it. The Smooth Piper. Good to see you, Peter. How you doing, my friend? And there's Hillbilly Piper. How's it going, Donnie? He's got his original Friday Savinelli unfinished with some McBaron Symphony. Cool. And Peter's got some Haunted Pirate Ship in his Friday Savinelli. Hope you're enjoying that, Peter. The more Haunted Pirate Ship you smoke, the less I have to. Okay, so you can find it on Apple Podcast and Spotify. So there you go. Cypress Piper is recommending Get Piped podcast. There you go. Oh, that would be cool, Couch, recording your bike rides. Good company to keep on a Friday night, John. Only at those Ivy League cocktail parties. I see, Doug. Yeah, I have listened to the Pipe Magazine podcast. Um, what's the one that Mike, what's his name, does? Somebody help me out here. He does it with, at least he used to do it with Jay Furman. I haven't listened to it in a while. Uh, but that one can be very good. Although their language sometimes can not be so good. Flint Hill will have to get Doug to weigh in on that. Was it Pliny the Elder that died from the fumes of Mount Vesuvius? Well, there you go, Pipe Appeal. Based in the Houston area, maybe you can check out the Houston Pipe Club that Rich is part of. Lord Hogarth, I'm glad I wasn't at that cocktail party. I appreciate that, Doug. I just don't want to go under the big smoky Latakia tent. Pipe and Tamper. Thank you, Pipe Hunter. That's the podcast I was trying to think of. Pipe and Tamper. Yes, Richie. Yeah, Pliny the Elder just doesn't get much respect anymore, Michael. Yes, Brian, it's definitely adult content with adult language. That is true. Those guys have a crude but often funny sense of humor. And I've met Mike. He interviewed me years ago. He's a really nice guy. Jay Furman is one of the nicest guys I know. He's an incredibly good man. But when they get together, it definitely takes on an adult tone. Millennial Codger likes Pliny the guitarist. He must have been the son of Pliny the Younger. Briar Blues is here. Smooth Piper, I missed him. Hello, Mike. Good to see you, if you are indeed here. Pipes, Pours, and Pals podcast, says James Steidel. That's a new one for me. Crosby Corner, how's it going? And Paul Rapp, first time on the chat. And yes, it was Pliny the Elder. So we got a new guy answering the question. Great to meet you, Paul. Welcome. Plenty of the not so ageist. Love it, Cypress Piper. Oh, that's very sad to hear, Ron. I did not know the Bear Graves, but may he rest in peace. There's Papa Bear. How you doing, buddy? DJ, good evening, sir. Or madam. I'm sorry, DJ, I don't know. There's plenty to go around, Doug, for sure. I don't know if I talked about this before, but I am, or was, it's been a while since I've been, but I was a member of a scion of the, it's a Sherlock Holmes thing. These groups are sort of associated with Baker Street Irregulars, if you're familiar with that group. And these are like small local groups that get together to discuss Sherlock Holmes. And it's a really it's a neat format, and I can go into the format more if you're interested. But when a member dies or someone in the community passes away, they have this really interesting ritual that they do, uh, usually at the beginning of the meeting, which is everyone stands and faces in the same direction, and there's a poem that's recited that is definitely Sherlock Holmes inspired. I'm not really sure of the origin of it, but it's very sad, very moving. And then we raise a toast to that person, and then the show goes on, the meeting goes on. And whenever I see that a pipe smoker has passed away, I wish we had something like that, because what we wind up with is all these, and of course we're a virtual group, so it's not like we can all get together and do something like that. But it's just unfortunate that there can't be some sort of a community thing like that, because it really does help to have that group recognition of something like that. Yornik's laying down the law. Hit the like or else. And I don't want to know what else is from Yornik. Plenty of Plenties does sound like a 60s band, yes. Yes, pray for Bear Graves and his wife Terry. Absolutely, Ron. I will do that, and I hope many of you join me. Oh, Michael. Michael K says Roman's favorite candy was good and plenty. That's funny. I have not heard anything from Daniel Big Dave. I emailed him months ago and said, people were asking, and the response he gave me was basically, how can I put this? He basically said he's fine, he appreciates it, but he can't really talk on email. He's because he was activated in the military. So I figured it's best to just let him get back to me when things settle down, and I'm sure he will, but I have not heard from him in a while. Chris Webber, Smoke Rings from My Pipe by Malcolm Gleet. That sounds very familiar. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that last name correctly, but Sounds very familiar. I'll have to look for that. Oh, thank you, Doug. I'd love to see that. Yernick, that would explain why he was always complaining about that Johnny Sacco. 3 people are going to get that joke. Did I mention I survived a tragic salad making accident? It was very traumatic. Fresca, my goodness. I like Fresca. Haven't had one in a very long time, but it's refreshing. It's pronounced Gite. Thank you, Piper said Sid, and good to see you. Oh, I'm fine, Richie. I just like overemphasizing. It was quite a cut. I basically cut the tip of the thumb off, but it's a very small circle. It's like about the size of a pencil eraser. Um, it didn't come off, just cut into it deeply, and it looks like I got a little circle on top of my thumb. My fault for not paying attention when I'm chopping vegetables. Peter, you're quite welcome from myself, and I'm sure from everyone. Uh, hopefully, hopefully things are going better for you and your sister. Fresca and gin, Doug? My goodness. I'm just imagining it was like 2 o'clock in the morning and you were out of tonic and desperate. Caesar, of course. Of course, Michael. Caesar salad was invented in Tijuana. I remember hearing that. By a man named Caesar, if I'm not mistaken. That's a great story, Chris. What's a mohel, Paragon? Or maybe a mohel? I don't know what that is. Oh, I know what it. Oh, never mind. Never forget I asked. Forget I asked. Oh, those mandolin slicers scare the heck out of me, Bonapiper. I can do the same thing with a knife much safer. We have one, and it's got all kinds of safety features on it, but I still won't use it. Absolutely, Peter, and God bless you, my friend. If that's a Mel Brooks joke, Chris, I do not want to know the punchline. Rabbis get all the tips. There you go. Beowulf and Miss Kathy. Brain surgeon for cutting my thumb. uh, you might be right. Ian Haywood, good to see you, buddy. He is an important guy, Chris. Yeah, that would indicate it is sharp enough there, Yornik. Oh my goodness. With a lawnmower? Yeah, I get the speed aspect, Bona Piper, but I don't know. I'd rather slow down and keep my fingers. All right, Ron's got some haunted bookshop in his Bones Pipe of the Year 2020 Virtual Pipe Club paneled Love It pipe. Nice. So the first thing I said when I cut my thumb was I said, "Oh, I cut my thumb," thinking my wife would come out to the kitchen to see if I needed help, but she didn't. Um, and then I said, and it was just what came to mind. I said, "Oh, that's one of my favorite fingers," which made me laugh. But then I started to think about it, and is the thumb actually a finger? I'm not repeating that, Bona Piper. Lawnmower wasn't even running. Oh, it was a push mower. Ouch. Oh yeah, you were lucky. That's because you had a sharp bit there, Paragon Piper. Yeah, I thought about it. I thought about it a lot more than I should have, Flint Hill, and I agree with you. It is a finger, but if it is a finger, we should call it a finger, since like this is the index finger, right? So this should be the thumb finger. So from now on, I'm going to call it the thumb finger. And speaking of thumbs, thank you, Piper said, hit the thumbs up button. It does help us with the algorithm, gets the word out, and builds the community. So it'd be wonderful if you would do that. So I started looking into this as I tend to do because I apparently don't have anything better to do. And I was curious about other languages. And it turns out a lot of other languages, in fact, most other languages, treat it similar to English. So these are all fingers, and this is something different. So in German, these are fingers, and this is Daumen. I forget French, but it's something similar. Uh, Stubby side of the hand finger is too long. That's true. That's true. Oh, that's a good question, Big Dave. Would that be a thumb? I don't know. The thumb finger is the only part of your body with a saddle joint at the base. That's fascinating, Flinthill. I love stuff like that. So yeah, most languages are the same as English. We got fingers and a thumb. So that makes me think that if somebody says, "How many fingers do you have?" you should say 8. You got 8 and 2 thumbs, unless we're going to call it the thumb finger. And the one difference is that I found so far is Japanese. So in Japanese, I think the fingers are called ubi, and these are called, the thumb is called like oya ube, something like that. Uh, so it means fingers, and this is the father finger. I think that's right. Uh, which kind of makes, or the parent finger, one of those. But it's a finger in Japanese. So Japanese people are allowed to say they got 5 fingers, but everybody else should only say 4. Yeah, I think about this stuff way too much. Phil Rivera, hello. Good to see you. Oh, that's sweet, Phil. In Russian, it's called a big finger. All right, Yornik, so there's 2 then. The Russians get to have 5 fingers too. Okay, in Polish, I'm not going to try to pronounce that, but it is different in Polish. So you got 4 fingers and a thumb. Ubi-san? Is that what the word is? I don't remember it. Pinky is the 5th digit, but we do call it the pinky finger, Chris. Oh yeah, Doug, thumbs are important. No question about it. Call the thumb the great finger. There you go. The Chinese have no word for transmission, so they call it shift box. I bet you anything the same is true in Japanese, but they call it transmission. Athlete's thumb. Big Country Briar, good to see you, Cole. Well, Richie, I'm saying it should be called a 4 finger and a thumb discount. Gary Edminster, welcome, buddy. It's okay to get sidetracked. It happens. Flint Hill, I heard about it after it happened, and we were very disappointed. My wife's been dying to see the Northern Lights, and apparently they were really visible here, and we did not know about it until this morning. So very disappointed in that. But glad you got some photos. I may be coming to the end of my first bowl here. Christian's reliving the highlights from Stupid Joke Night last week. Oh, Germans do love compound words. I studied German in high school, and the subject that I studied in graduate school, a lot of the early work was written in German, and I had to do translations of it. And when you're reading technical German, you know, science German, it's unbelievable. There's words this long, and in English we'd have a sentence for it, but it's one word in German, and you have to break it down and try to figure out what the parts are before you can translate it. Oh, it's fine, Christian. We missed you, buddy. But you had important stuff to do, so. I'm looking forward, Doug. I've seen some pictures, but I haven't seen the video yet of Phil's new abode. So I'm looking forward to it. Compound cursing in English. That's interesting. Is there any electricity in the Aurora Borealis? Asked Big Dave. I gotta think about that. Yes, because it's basically an electromagnetic wave interacting with the atmosphere. So there'd have to be I don't think it's like electricity that you could harness. It's not the same thing as lightning, but it's what you're witnessing is an electrical event. New computer. Good question, Michael. So what I did was I got my wife's old computer, which is actually a pretty good computer, but unfortunately it was running Windows and it couldn't support Windows 11, which she had to upgrade to. I fixed it. There was it had broken. She had dropped it. Well, actually, the dog got tangled up in the cord and pulled it off the table. Um, so I repaired it. I put a new hard drive, larger hard drive in it, and I maxed out the memory and I installed Linux. And I'm sorry, it's cold here. The furnace is going to run, so hopefully that won't be too much of a problem. So I did all this work on it, and it's running beautifully, and it's just what I need. So I'm not going to buy a new computer. I'm going to use that. The problem is, I did that about a month ago, and I've done absolutely nothing in terms of transferring files and getting it ready to use instead of what I'm using now. Uh, but I do have everything backed up, so if tragedy strikes, I'm ready to switch over. Dirt Piglet is Aardvark. Is that German, Flint Hill? Ragamuffin Piper's got some great videos on the Aurora. I'll have to check that out. It's got a magnetic component, Phil, but it's an electromagnetic flux. So yeah. That'll happen, Ron. Plenty of the expert weighing in. Good one, Doug. That's interesting, Yornik. There's a single word in Russian that means 1.5. That's very interesting. I have he's not a friend. He's a friend of a friend who is from. Well, actually, he's Italian, but I think he grew up in Wales. But he actually speaks Italian. I forget what area he's from in Italy. But that man can curse in Italian like it's an art form, and it's hilarious to listen to. And for some reason, when I hear it in another language, it's not offensive. It's just funny to me. I don't know why. It should, I mean, but anyway, yeah, he's an artist when it comes to things like that. He's sort of like the Italian version of Ralphie's father in The Christmas Story. It's cosmic radiation that comes from usually from well, from the sun, and often from a solar flare, which is putting out an electromagnetic pulse. Todd, you should definitely do that. It's you'll be very happy. If you've never used Linux before, I would highly recommend either Linux Mint or Ubuntu. What I'm running right now is Ubuntu, although it's not my favorite. What I installed on the new computer, well, my wife's old computer, but my new computer, is Pop! OS, which is from System 76. System 76 actually made the computer I'm using right now, and it's a fantastic system. And I also have an older computer that's running Arch Linux just because I can keep it really simple. But yeah, for a first-time Linux user, definitely Linux Mint or Ubuntu. All fruit is feminine, but one approach with care. That's interesting, Michael. I don't know what the one is. Yes, I believe it was the ancient Indians that invented the number zero, Phil. And what a great invention it was. An interesting thought, Big Dave. That is true, Big Flint Hill. The magnetic field around the Earth is very important. And that might be why people are thinking the aurora is magnetic. It is due to an interaction. I said atmosphere earlier, but more the correct thing is it's interacting with the magnetic field of the Earth. So it's an electromagnetic pulse interacting with the magnetic field around the Earth. So yeah, there is a magnetic component to it. Boy, we're getting geeky. I've heard that about the Quebec Frenchies there, Yornik. Sorry, Christian, but you're not a Quebec Frenchie, are you? There's two types of Canadians. I'm gonna get myself in trouble. I'm gonna get myself in so much trouble. There's like really rude, obnoxious people that treat me terrible, and then there's the incredibly nice people when I go to Canada. And Christian is definitely one of the incredibly nice people. Just comes out without thinking about it. I get it, Paragon. I think there's something about being able to do it in another language, Richie, that just makes it easier to be creative around other people that are not speaking that language necessarily. You're right, Doug. We got to bring it back to whatever the heck we talk about. Navy chiefs certainly would have those skills, Gary. No, it's not a reflection of light, Pepe. It's more complicated than that. But you'd be much better off. And I'm not picking on you, Pepe, or anyone else, but I'm not an expert. You really probably could find much better explanations than I'm going to be able to give you. That's interesting, Ron. Ah, yes, different elements are reacting differently, and you're getting the different wavelengths of light out of them, Phil. That is interesting. To Ron's thing about his buddy in the '70s who could see trippy lights radiating from everything after licking funny snaps. I got a funny father-in-law story. We were in Georgia, and it was one of his friends and myself, and he's driving. This is 20 years ago, and he was wearing glasses, and he wore pretty heavy glasses, and he's driving along, and he takes his glasses off, and he's driving for a while, and he says, "You know, when I take my glasses off, the lights just look so pretty. It breaks up into all these different colors. It's like a rainbow." And his friend turns to him and says, "For God's sake, put your glasses back on." It was one of those moments looking in from the outside that was just really hilarious. Because he was terrified when he heard that. What happened to the second pipe? Asked Patrick. I haven't loaded it yet. I just finished the first pipe. I would guess so, Phil. Well, Flint Hill, just don't let anybody lick it. All right, so for pipe number two, because Patrick getting antsy. Sorry, Patrick. For pipe number two, I've got my Tim West. Um, I don't know what this is. A Levat, a Lumberman, a something or the other, but I love this pipe. It's got a nice big bowl, and yeah, Tim makes a fine pipe. And because the tobacco of the month is Haunted Bookshop, yay! I'm gonna have another bowl of Haunted Bookshop. Ah, Yornik is going in for his first pipe of the day, Gaslight. You know, butts choking, but what is it? Boots chokan? Boots chokan. I'll tell you a funny story about that too. Um, Green is ionized nitrogen, red is oxygen. Makes sense, Paul? McBeans, yes, Rich. Yeah, Tim is hardworking, and man, he is a treasure trove of information and stuff. He and anytime when I was doing restoration work, and Phil actually introduced me to Tim, so thank you for that, Phil. But anytime I needed something, I'd get in touch with him and I'd say, Tim, I need a sterling silver band for Peterson, and I'd say the size and all that. And the amazing thing, I don't know if he still does this, he shouldn't do this, but I'd find a couple days later in the mail the thing that I was looking for with an invoice. He didn't ask for the money up front back then. Uh, Probably does now. I hope he does now because it's much safer. Uh, Butts choking. Yeah, I forget who it was. I'm trying to remember who was being interviewed, and it was actually on the old what was it called? Country Squire Pipe Radio podcast, whatever the Country Squire podcast was called. They were interviewing a pipe maker, and he was from Texas, if I recall, and he had just gotten a new uh, Boots Shokan pipe, and his friend, it was two guys, they were like partners making pipes, and the guy said, what do you call that pipe? And he just turned to that Texas accent and said, Butts choking. It was hilarious. The succinct thing is true, Phil. I mean, one of my favorite things about going to the Columbus show is I get to see Tim, and I go up to him and I say hello, and he doesn't remember who I am visually, so I have to reintroduce myself every time. And he's, oh yeah, Mike, and he shakes my hand, and the whole thing is over in about 30 seconds. He he's not a man of many words, and he's busy. I mean, he's got a lot of business going on there and customers and all. So, but it always makes me laugh. I look forward to it, and it's like a 30-second conversation and it's over. These boots are made for choking. Oh, Yornik, that is beautiful. I don't know if it's an eighth bent, Doug. I don't know. Boots Shokan. That's probably as close as I'm going to get to pronouncing it properly, Richard. And John was cool. Just call it BC. That makes sense. Yeah, Phil, I don't know if you remember, but I was restoring this ancient Peterson. It was this guy's like great grandmother's pipe. It was from like 1890, and it needed a cap, and I didn't know where to find one. And I knew Phil did silver work, so I got in touch with him and asked him if he'd be interested in making one. And he said, "Well, check with Tim first." And Tim's response was, "Give me a few minutes." And I just imagined him going into this barn or something, looking around, and he found it. He found exactly what I needed. My wife's up there taking care of her, so I can ignore the barking. Cypress Pepper moving on to the Burley Flake in his Briarworks. Nice. Lurker Troy's got a Savinelli 611 EX with Haunted Bookshop and some coffee. Troy, when I first read that, I thought it said Haunted Coffee Shop, and I was thinking, oh dear Lord, somebody makes Haunted Bookshop and coffee flavored aromatic. Don't do that, by the way. And Patrick Grant's got some G&H Balkan mixture in his Friday Savinelli. A lot of folks leaning on the Latakia tonight. Is that because fall is in the air? All right, Yornik. Well, I hope you guys get some rest and say hello to Kate for all of us and hugs right back to you. Richie B, bite your tongue. We are not allowed to mix Haunted Bookshop and Lane 1Q. That is illegal. Ah, Flint Hill, that stinks. Sorry to hear about that. Can you recommend a good coffee aromatic, Phil? I'd love to try one, but I've not had good success with them. Oh, I hate it when that happens, Cole. When you buff a lot of pipes, you learn to get a steel grip on them. Oh, Doug, I've got some Nutty Irishmen, and that's scaring me. I actually didn't know that Nutty Irishman was coffee, but yeah, it makes sense. Being old does indeed suck, Yernick. Hey, Peter, if you're thinking about putting in an order, Smoking Pipes has 20% off C&D right now. Gary's got a Tim West Paul. Must be Tim West night, Gary. Smoking French vanilla. I've got some of that warped espresso and I can't smoke it. It just doesn't agree with me, Cypress Piper. Fan has one with the pipe maker on the cover in front of a table of coffee beans. Okay, Phil. And cobblestone. I'll have to look at those. The Nutty Irishman isn't terrible, Doug. There's very few aromatics I can smoke, and I'd much rather smoke Autumn Evening than Nutty Irishman, but it's okay. It's bearable for me. Cloud Bear makes one? Okay. Oh, Dan Tobacco. Okay. I should have figured that out, though. I don't know why I said fan, obviously. I'll try to jump in, Doug. I don't know. Ah, Lord Hogarth, I'm so glad to hear somebody else say it's dreadful, because so many people love that blend, and I just didn't get it. Yeah, here you go, Phil. Maybe that's how they're doing the sale. You pay 20% less, but you also get 20% less. Cobblestone blends are the ones I've had have been absolutely fantastic. Doug, I just don't understand humanity, but if that's what the numbers tell us, I guess that's what the numbers tell us. Yeah, Dan Tobacco is sadly gone, indeed. Gary says he's got two Tim West pipes from back in the day, and Ron has one that's AWOL. Danish looking Dublin. Paragon's joining in on the anti-warped blend wagon there. Kamoy cask number 2 is another recommendation from Phil. So it's a little early to have this discussion, but one of the things I've been thinking about is what my holiday blend is going to be this year. I still have a decent amount of North Pole peppermint cocoa, whatever that stuff was from last year. Uh, I think I might need to take a year off from that. So I'm thinking about getting out one of my tins of Germain plum cake. It's been a while since I've had that. That has always been a favorite holiday blend for me. So I may actually do that. Thanksgiving cake should go on sale at the end of this month, and I am going to buy some this year. It's been years since I bought it, but I think I'm going to get some this year and smoke that through November. I get that, Doug. I get that the aromatics are more acceptable to people around you, and that's nice. And I've tried that. Sometimes when my wife and I would go on road trips, I'd get a couple aromatics just to try to keep her happy. She never liked them, so it didn't matter. Um, but they just taste so bad to me. And I've got this thing where I taste the chemical, not the flavoring. So I'm weird, but I just don't understand it. I mean, Lane 1Q to me just tastes like I'm smoking uh, I don't know, tobacco soaked in 3-in-1 oil or something like that. It just doesn't have any pleasant flavors to me. Never tried corncob pipe and a button nose, Big Dave, but I've tried Cornell and Deal holiday blends in the past, and they've all been horrible. And again, it's my weird palate where I can taste the chemicals, not the. I don't taste artificial flavor. I taste the chemical. So I've talked about this before, but the first flavored coffee I ever tried was hazelnut, which I think might have been the first flavored coffee, or maybe it was French vanilla. I don't remember, but and it tasted awful. And every time I've ever tried a flavored coffee, it's tasted like that. So there's no difference between French vanilla and hazelnut and whatever else you might have. It all tastes the same to me, and it tastes like this chemical stuff that just isn't pleasant. Okay, Paragon, that sounds like a challenge that I am not going to take, but he wants me to mix North Pole peppermint mocha with bacon old fashioned. Yeah. You're going to go with a chocolate and brandy arrow, Yornik? Sounds nice. '30s Yellow Bowl. Nice, Phil. You're a good man for doing that, Doug. How many of the aromatic smokers actually take you up on that? I'm curious. Doug's doing the good work of trying to convert the aromatic smokers. Oh, yes, Richie, I remember those, and they were horrible. The General Foods International coffees. Yes. Celebrate the moments of your life. I can hear the music. Yes. Oh, so is 159 anniversary flake what they used to call Scottish flake? Phil, I'm so glad you told me that. I used to really enjoy Scottish flake. And it disappeared when McClellan disappeared. I always wanted to get that again, and I'll have to get some when I order the Thanksgiving Day. I'll get some of that. So thank you for telling me. You like Latakia, the I forget who makes plum pudding. Not the Germain, but what's the other one? That's a good choice, Peter. Troy's Christmas blend is rustica. There you go. Some of those Lovecraft blends were good, Yornik, and even the ones with toppings on them I enjoyed. I don't think I tried Visions of. I'm not going to try to pronounce that, but Santa's navel lint, Big Dave. That would be interesting. Borkum Riff. I have a friend that only smoked Borkum Riff for many, many years. I tried to convert him from that, and he just wouldn't budge. He'd take some from my pouch and try it, and he'd go, nah, I'm gonna stick with Borkum Riff. It does tend to be pretty young, Phil. I agree. But see, what you do is, so with Haunted Bookshop, I always try to keep a couple pounds around, and I just, you know, it ages naturally. So. Ron, that sounds horrible. And I did have Strauss's Sleepy Hollow once, and I didn't like it at all. And you guys know this by now, but I'm not saying it's not good. I'm just saying I can't smoke it. Visions of syphilis. Ah, Richie. Rudolph Jerky. There you go. Cuban mixture is a good one, Phil. I got a tin of that in the drawer here that I really enjoy every once in a while. The problem for me with Peretti blends is they do have a Peretti topping. I have no idea what it is, but it's very unique, and it's one of these things that I'll find myself craving, and then after a couple bowls, I don't want it anymore. So I bought an 8-ounce tin of Cuban mixture years ago, and that will last me for a very long time. But when I want it, I really want it. Good old Mixture 79, Big Dave. That's an anomaly for me. I don't know why I like that so much. But it's similar to Cuban Mixture, where I'll suddenly say to myself, I really want some Mixture 79. And after a couple of bowls, I put it away and I'm done for a while. Which is good because I don't make it anymore. But copious amounts of, yeah, it's mold, Crafty Pipe, and it's mold. But I'm glad it still tastes good. Yes, Gary, I must. I'm afraid I must. Indeed, Phil. Indeed. Yeah, I'm not a dark-fired guy, Lurker Troy. I like it when it's done in moderation. It can really add some nice qualities to a blend. But things like the old dark-fired H&H, nah, I can't smoke it. Too much like barbecue. Big Dave, we've asked Santa that many times. He does show up every December here on the live stream, and we get to ask him such things. I don't remember what he said, but hopefully he will be here in a few months, and we can ask him ourselves. You can ask him yourself. It is an awesome blend, Peter. It's sad, Phil. Undestructible indeed, Yornik. Oh, Phil, that's a harsh assessment of Darkfire. Oh, what did I miss there? Flake. Yeah, I think you did have an L in there, Doug. That's fun. Typos get you every time. You think Santa smokes Blue Note, Pepe? Have you guys noticed, speaking of spell check, that it it chooses the oddest times to not check your spelling? I was writing an email the other day, and there are things like, especially with text messaging, if I want to use the word, now just as an example, let's say I'm writing something and I want to say that somebody was an ass, and I put the word ass in a text message, it autocorrects it to something else. It will not let me use that word. I have to actually back up, rewrite it, and then click the little check to use it. So it's impossible to use that word because apparently Google spell check is very prudish. I don't actually know if I should tell this story now that I'm thinking about it. It was a typo. I didn't mean anything by it, but I was typing a work email, and Microsoft spell check is just as bad. And I typed a word. I'm not going to tell you what the word is because I don't want to get in trouble. It doesn't matter really what the word was. But the first letter was definitely wrong. They're next to one another on the keyboard. And what I typed by mistake, because I'm not a good typist, was not a word that I would use normally and not a word that should be in a work email. And spell check didn't care. It just let me type that word. And fortunately, I proofread my emails before I send them because of things like this, and I caught it. But I was thinking, my goodness, that could have gotten me in serious trouble. And yet it'll, the goofiest little things that'll prevent me from typing. Santa smokes Christmas trees. Could be. I could type it like that, Richie, but that would actually take more time because I'd have to go into the characters and stuff. I don't know. It didn't rhyme with duck, Richie. It wasn't an obscenity. It was actually a slur, and I'm just gonna leave it at that because I don't really want to even make a joke about it because it was really an unfortunate word that I would never use in an email. But it just amazed me that spell check had no issue with this word. You're probably right about that, Doug. It's probably not pepperoni pizza. Brian, I can imagine that happening. Ozark Mountain Hardwood. Those are nice pipes, James. You know, Richie, it might have thought that, yeah. Doug, I don't want to do that because it really, I'm uncomfortable doing it, so I'm not going to give you a hint. Words of Wonders web game has no problem with using a word from the word ginger. Finger? Uh, no, Doug, I'm not looking forward to that. Luciano Martin, glad to see you there. Hoping to visit the U.S. soon. I hope you do. Those Missouri Meerschaum pipes are fine pipes indeed, Luciano. I hope you enjoy it. I have at least one alpha pipe, Gary. Good pipes. Israeli, right? The tobacco of the month is Haunted Bookshop, yes. Okay, Yornik, that's more than a one-letter replacement. I get you now. Okay. That's basically what happened to me. I should have typed the letter B and I typed the letter next to it. So now you can all figure it out. Yeah, it was an anagram, not a single letter replacement for Yornik. For me, it was just a single letter replacement. And yes, they are soulless creatures, indeed, Crafty Pipe. Santa's Mistake. Don't know about that one, Ron. But hey, if it's got Syrian in it. Ooh, Richie, you're in luck. I hope you grabbed that because doodlers are fine pipes. Doug, I'm sorry. I will watch it because it is all baseball and I love baseball, but there's nothing in me that can root for the Yankees. I'm sorry. I just can't do it. Can't root for the Dodgers either. So it's not going to be enjoyable, but I will watch it. And it's not sour grapes. I mean, I knew the Phillies weren't going to make it. I said last week that, or maybe the week before, that the Mets were going to be a problem. That would have to have been last week. Richie, I'd save that for a future project. That's going to be a little bit more advanced in terms of the shaping. Hall Futura. Not familiar with that, Gary. Oh, Peter, don't be a Mets fan. No, I guess you have to be a Mets fan. Doug, I know they got a history. I know, and I love that history. Heck, Richie, if I was going to make one of those, I think I'd need a mill, uh, a mill with what do they call it when you have the digital readout? They probably call it digital readout. Yeah. Oh, we got a Mets fan and a Yankee fan in the audience. Oh boy. Oh, Patrick, I hope you enjoy it, and Peter, I hope you enjoy it too. I mean, like I said, I just love baseball in general, but there's always going to be teams that get up your whatever it is that teams get up. Uh, there are teams I just can't bear to watch. You know, there's the Braves, which I when I lived in Atlanta, I learned to hate the Braves, and that was when they were on a run. And then the Yankees went on a run, and they just became this, overblown dynasty type thing. And I don't know. I guess and the Mets have always been a problem for Phillies fans. So when you're a Phillies fan, you tend to acquire a lot of teams you don't like. Go Indians, Crafty Piping. Doug, that's one of my favorite. I would love to have a book of Yogi Berra quotes and what's his name? Oh, how can I forget? Madoff. Madoff quotes. I mean, the thing about that guy is he's the kind of guy that goes faster when he runs. Yeah. Oh, fantastic, Phil. I look forward to that. Hope you have a safe trip, buddy. Yeah, nobody hates the Tigers, right? I can't call myself a cricket fan, James, because I don't follow it, but I do enjoy the game. If it's on, I'll watch it. Any game that uses statistics to the point where you can project the winner of a game 3 hours in advance, you gotta love that. When you see a fork in the road, take it. Oh, is that a Yogi Berra book? Very cool, Doug. It's isn't it funny, Richie, how sports fans will, I'm a fan of this, but I don't mind watching them, and it's funny to how you develop these like second choices, third choices. Yeah, the Red Sox are on my list of teams I can't watch, Peter. Curling is oddly fun to watch. Yes. Yes, Phil, you do. It's a requirement. You were named that for a reason. Troy likes women's beach volleyball. I wonder why. Rugby is pretty popular in France. Interesting. Hey, Peter, we got a lot in common. It's okay that we disagree on baseball. You've mentioned that before, Patrick, and I love that story. That's wonderful. Oh no, it's 9:30. We're going late, guys. Because I still have to drink yay much. And I'm not going to chug that, or I won't be able to get up the steps. And my wife will not come looking for me. Bollywood, Phil. Interesting. I don't know what evergreen hit. Oh, music. Okay. And cricket in Vietnam. I didn't know the cricket was big in Vietnam, Phil. That's interesting. Yes, it is overtime. If you'd like to leave, you're more than welcome. But I hope you stay. Raymond Phillips. Okay, Patrick, I'm going to look that up. I wouldn't call it excruciatingly dull, Doug. I mean, it's slow, no doubt. But see, I cannot watch soccer. Soccer to me is one of the most boring things that's ever been performed. It's a random walk, and if you're lucky, after a couple of hours, the ball wanders into one of the areas where people get excited. I just don't get soccer. And just like tobacco, it doesn't mean it's bad, it just means I don't like it. Got to represent, Yornik. Absolutely. Yeah, curling is not a sport for the elderly, Phil. I don't think that would work very well. Gary's bringing up golf. Golf's a beautiful game, Gary. I just don't find it interesting to watch. But I played mini golf. Pretty good at it. Never actually played a round of real golf. Armchair Piper was a soccer goalie in high school. That's interesting. Doug, you're bad. So James is saying that he saw his first cricket match on TV in a military base at Kuwait. I remember when I saw my first cricket match, and it's an interesting story for me at least. So I went to a conference in New Zealand, and this was like 2 weeks after I was married. So I took my wife along to the conference, and this was our honeymoon because I was a postdoc at the time. We didn't really have the money to plan a proper honeymoon, but here we had a chance to go to New Zealand, and all I had to do was pay for her airfare. So it was a great opportunity, and we had a wonderful time. And New Zealand's a beautiful country, and it was a great time, and I hope to go back there someday. But we get there, and the conference is during the day, and then in the evenings you got time off and whatnot. And I turn on the TV, and on comes cricket. I'm like, what the heck is this? I knew what cricket was, but I'd never seen it played, and I got sucked in because I was trying to figure out the game because I didn't know anything about it. And if you've never seen it, it's actually kind of difficult to figure out what the rules are and stuff. Probably similar to baseball. If you've never seen baseball and you try to figure it out, it's going to take you a while. And I just got completely sucked in. And every chance I got, because it must have been a season thing or something, because it was on all the time. And every chance I got, I would put on cricket and watch it. And she got so mad at me because we were supposed to be like out exploring New Zealand and stuff, and I just wanted to stay in the hotel and watch this. So that's when she realized she made a mistake, and yet she's still with me. Isn't playing soccer and running 26 miles the same thing, Phil? Hey, Stephen Skip Kane, good to see you. Glad you were able to drop in. And we're not even supposed to be on now. I'm going way too late. I'm sure that is a challenge, Phil. I'd love to. I know that in cricket they do nets, which is like sort of like a batting cage in baseball. And I'd love to try that sometime because it looks really challenging, and I'm sure I'd be terrible at it. But I just love to have that experience sometime just to try it. I can see that, Phil. Much more like sprints than endurance. Yeah. Oh, Steph, I hope he's avoiding the weather. It certainly has been crazy lately. Troy, if you get a chance, just spend 15 minutes and watch it sometime. It's an experience. Papa Bear, yeah, well, we spent the last hour or so talking about you, so you didn't miss much. That sounded mean. I didn't mean that to sound mean. They play it in Queens, Patrick? Maybe when I get to New York and we get to meet up, we can find a cricket match, Patrick. That would be fun. Oh no, Steph, I'm so sorry to hear that. Well, happy birthday. I'm glad you're okay, but that's terrible. Oh, Ron, that's a great story. That is a great story. Tough luck indeed, Phil. Highlight, it's the most dangerous game, Phil. Do any of you guys know the cartoon Archer, which is definitely adult themed? So if that kind of thing bothers you, don't look it up. Oh, thank goodness she was there, Steph. That's that's scary. It was a fine subject there, Papa Bear. Fine subject indeed. You weren't seen Archer, okay. Archer's hilarious. It's very adult themed. It's got language and everything, so I don't recommend you look it up if that kind of thing bothers you. But if you're okay with that, it's funny. It's really funny. Richie's seen it too. And there's a scene in Archer. So Archer is a spy, and he's sort of this somewhat inept, but he doesn't know he's inept, and he just always gets very lucky, kind of James Bond character. And there's this really funny scene where they're on some tropical island and they've been captured. And it's very clear that what's happened here is that the guy that's captured them is going to use them as prey in a hunting thing where they hunt humans. Okay, so that's what they're set up for. So this is like a big game hunter, and he's got cages with like tigers and lions and stuff, and he's going to have this thing where he sends them out in the woods and then they go and hunt them. And he says, tomorrow we hunt the most dangerous game. And Archer looks at him puzzledly and says, Highline? Just cracks me up every time I see it. They canceled the show, but it they got like 13 seasons in your neck, so there's plenty of Archer to watch. No, I don't think there was a dude that was a parrot, Richie. The most dangerous game, yes. So you know the line. Um, yeah, it got a little goofy towards the end. I don't think I really have seen much past like season 6 or so, but yeah, the stuff I've seen I've always enjoyed, and it's on Netflix now. So my wife and I have started watching. We're only like 5 episodes into season 1. I see Steph asking for a last name, and that reminded me of something. Um, Hang on, I'm looking something up here. I'm not gonna find it. That's not gonna work. Do any of you guys know a gentleman named Mike Rhodes? Isabel's barking again. Yeah, I got stuck here. There we go. Yes, just a reminder, Richie B is on the Houston Pipe podcast. He was interviewed, the latest episode, so check that out. And you can hear his last name. Did Mushroom Lake show up? Watched the new VHS movie tonight. Had some creepy moments. It was about alien horror. Very cool. Nothing better than alien horror. The Houston Pipecast podcast is wherever you find podcasts. There you go. Mike Rhodes. Anybody know that name? I asked because I got an email from him, and he was having a hard time, and I just hope he's well. But I haven't heard back from him, and just wondering if anyone else knew who he was. Uh-oh. Oh, the Flint is gone. Yeah, BB King song, Flint is gone. Should I replace the Flint, or should I just end the podcast, the live stream? Do you ever watch YouTube channels where they refer to their show as a podcast? That annoys me. Look, if Pipepool was out there, I'd say, look, I know where my flints are. I have a habit of losing my flints, and Andrew always likes to laugh at me. I can't see what I'm doing. I still have some beverage, Patrick, so unfortunately for you, it's not done yet. On Blueberry Hill, Gary, yep. That's true, Paragon. Some are actual podcasts, but I've seen some that aren't, say that. Not pipe related podcasts, but what is my favorite YouTube pipe or tobacco related channel? Asked Pipe Appeal. That would be that CaneRod Piper guy. I think he's fantastic. I'm not going to answer that. There's too many to actually answer. Mushroom Leg says, a random question, as I've been watching Match's streams, why is Pipes and Stogies called Pipes and Kayaks on my, or is my screen broken? I think your screen's broken, Mushroom Leg. No, Brad originally went by Pipes and Kayaks, and then he changed it to Pipes and Stooges, actually. Because he unfortunately had some really bad back problems, and I don't think he was able to do the kayak thing anymore. Kate is up, Yornik. Oh, you guys got to get some sleep. So in 12 minutes, it'll be 10 o'clock here. Should we just go to 10? You're welcome, Mushroom Leg. Anytime I can stop you from being driven crazy, I'm happy to do it. That's the problem, Flint Hill. It just doesn't fit in the Zippo. Yep. Patrick says go for it, so we will save the last swig of, will we? Yeah, we'll have one more to go. Jameson's been good to me tonight. Sanity can be a bit confining, Yornik. I agree with that. So Steph, I've been seeing you on Instagram, and it looks like you're getting that homesteading thing down. Steph is doing all kinds of canning and pickling and stuff like that. I admire that. I freeze stuff sometimes if I remember before it goes bad. The Irish deserve it, Peter. Iowa, really? Very nice, Steph. That's right, Patrick. Hope it works out. It's I really admire that people would decide to make that kind of a life change. It's something I would love to do, but I just don't think I'm up to it. Oh, Troy, just pack up and leave. Just get out of there. If you value your life. You're gonna grind your own flour. Wow, that is cool. All right, Cypress Piper, thanks for joining us, buddy. You have a great weekend too. Pete, don't fail me now. Indeed, Peter. Indeed. Well, that pipe is done. I'm not going to load another at this point since we only got 7 minutes to go before 10. And I am going to have to go back upstairs before my wife starts filling out the insurance policy paperwork. I'm kidding. She wouldn't do that, but I do wonder sometimes. You know, we've sort of developed this habit where, you know, she watches what she likes on TV, and I just don't like it. So I come down here. I've got the Chromecast that I can watch, and you know, I can relax down here, and I can do some shop stuff if I want to, and also I'll usually after dinner come down here. And there have been nights where I have just flat out fallen asleep watching the YouTube stuff, and I'll wake up like an hour later, and she doesn't even notice. So, but she loves me. I'm sure she does. She just trusts me to not have something tragic happen. Although I did have a tragic salad accident, so maybe she shouldn't trust me so much. Slam poetry next Friday. That's a possibility. All right, Lurker Troy, thanks for joining us tonight. I will pass that along, Steph. Thank you so much. Well, folks, I know we're not quite at 10 o'clock, but I'm tired. I think I'm going to wrap this up. People are starting to leave, you know. I don't want to be the last one out. So let's see, before we call it a night, let me take a look at the calendar here. So I really don't know what's going on for the next couple of weeks because I do have to make a trip out to Pittsburgh. But I will definitely be here next week. So watch the announcements. We might do a Halloween thing next week because I'm not sure I'm going to be here for Halloween. So maybe we'll do something early. We will see. We'll see what happens. But at any rate, let's wrap this up. I really appreciate you guys. It's been a great fun. I really needed it this week. I never even talked about why. It's just been a rough week, work-wise. So it was great to be able to relax and enjoy. Yeah, Mushroom Leg, great podcast. Ha ha ha. It was great to relax with you guys and share a couple of pipes and just have some laughs, as always. So thank you for joining me. I hope you all have a fantastic weekend and a great week ahead. I'll be back on Sunday with a video. So until then, take care, be well, and I'll see you all real soon. Bye now.